No matter what you're doing, even if you hate it, realize it's temporary and be amazing at it.
This is the mindset that I want you to adopt.
You know, Steve Jobs really wasn't an entrepreneur. He really didn't care much about the money. Steve Jobs really was an artist.
I recently sat down with Dean Graziosi for a one-on-one interview, and so to celebrate that, here is a special Dean Graziosi espresso from our vault. Enjoy.
I wake up every morning.
Espresso keep me going.
I wake up every morning.
No matter what you're doing, even if you hate it, realize it's temporary and be amazing at it. I sat down with John Paul DiGiorio, who started Tequila, Patron, and Sassoon, and he said he hated.
His name's come to me a couple times this week. Go ahead.
He said he hated when he had a janitorial job when he was a kid. But he said, man, it was my job. I cleaned the boss came to him and said, man, I lifted up the desk. You cleaned under the desk. He's like, the guy thought I loved the job. I hated it. I just did it the best. And I realized one of my first real estate deal did over $1 million. True story. I was fixing a guy's car, and I'm in the collision shop. I'm gonna be completely transparent. I hated the collision shop. I ended up being the only painter because I got good at it. So every night when everybody left, I'd paint for 3 hours. The ventilation wasn't good. I'd have headaches. I hated every inch of it, but you'd never know. If you came in, you'd be like, that guy loves being in the collision shop. I knew it was temporary. Because don't think I'm just gonna schlub through this job and then my magic will come. You'll be screwed. You'll stay there because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I'm literally in the collision shop. I have this guy, he comes down, he's like, my God, my car looks great. Thank you so much. We get talking, become kind of friends really quick. And he says, what are you up to? I'm like, well, I'm doing this, but I'm working on my day job. My night job is real estate. I'm gonna take real estate to a whole nother level. He's like, what do you got going on? At that time, I was working on a deal for $180,000 to buy an old vineyard.
Okay.
And I didn't have the money. I scraped up every credit card I had. I came up with like 45 grand. The seller agreed to sell it to me for half down and half in 2 years. I needed 45 grand. I tell this guy the story. I said, but I'm gonna get it. He goes, yeah, you're gonna get it because I'm going home to get it for you.
Oh my gosh.
Now, what if I was like, I hate collision. Yeah, here's your keys.
Yeah.
I made $1 million on that deal. It was the first one ever, documented.
Awesome.
I sold that property. I killed it on that property. Killed it.
What a great
all the
story.
All the neighbors didn't want me to build on the property, and I was fighting them. And then I realized, wow, what if I sell it to them? So I sold them all a piece around, and I crushed it. I killed it. So that's the first thing.
Yep.
So no matter what you're doing, find a way to be enthusiastic, knowing that maybe the universe, God, whatever you believe in, is putting you through your trial run to deserve that.
Your lack of enthusiasm is killing your dreams. The fact that you think right now that you should be further ahead, that you don't deserve to be where you are right now, that you've got more talent, more skill than the work that you're doing right now and is beneath you is the single biggest factor that is holding you back. Because the people around you don't see that potential inside you. You're not letting it shine. Sitting on the sidelines and hating your life and letting everybody see your negativity is not the path to get the opportunity to jump up to the next step. And until we fix this, even if you don't like the work, have an enthusiasm for it, because that's a self-identity issue, that because you're doing it, it's going to be great. People will notice, people will pay attention, and they'll give you the opportunity. But as long as you sit and complain and are negative that you're not further ahead right now and it's not fair, you never get that shot. This is a big mindset shift that you have to make. I think about a friend of mine named Bo, and Bo and I are recent business partners. Bo came to my Thought Leadership Academy maybe a year and a half ago. And this is an event where 10 to 15 people come from around the world, and I trained them 3 days, pretty intense. And Bo said, I want to come and volunteer. I want to come and volunteer and help the people who are there learn how to make better connections, because Bo is a master connector. Said, I want to come and help the people make better connections. And I had a jam-packed schedule, but Bo is an awesome guy, and I thought, you know what, let's find the time for him. And I gave him a 25-minute spot or half an hour spot to be able to go off and do it. And he paid for his own way there. He paid for his own hotel and whatever else to get here. And he served, and he did such a fantastic job for everybody that by the end of the session, people are saying, man, I love Bo. And I've always liked Bo. Bo has been a part of my community. He's always given a lot of love. He's not the guy who complains. But that extra step, that little bit of extra enthusiasm, 6 months later has me thinking about Bo. I'm driving from a hike I'm on my way home and I like Bo. I gotta do something with Bo. What can I do with Bo? I want to start a business with Bo. I wonder what he's up to. And I messaged him and he wrote back to say, you know what, this time is awesome. I'd love to start a business with you. And our new business together is we help book people on different shows. So if you got a podcast, you got a YouTube channel, you need to get guests on your show. Bo is the master connector and he's got a done for you service to help you book one awesome guest per week to help you grow your podcast or YouTube channel. Why did that happen? I didn't need to start another business. It's not like I have to go off and do it and I need that to survive. I like doing it because I like the people that I partner with and I like Bo. And if Bo didn't say, hey, I'll volunteer to come on my own dime to give value to your community, to the people who are paying to come to this event, if he didn't do that, we wouldn't be business partners right now. And it's not just hoping that the stars align on one deal, right? It's not just saying, hey, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for Evan. If it doesn't work out, then that's it. Then it's over. Then screw him, right? This is Bo. This is what Bo does. He does this for everybody. And if he keeps doing this for everybody, guess what? More opportunities are going to land on his lap. Why is he so well connected? Why does he know so many people? Why are so many people willing to respond to him and answer his call? Because he's brought so much value to them. Because he always shows up enthusiastically. Even if you didn't necessarily like the work that he was doing, you can build great connections because he shows up with enthusiasm. You need that to be you. What would the people around you think of you? And not just the closest people, but even customers of yours or people who are behind you in line at the Starbucks when you're getting coffee. Like, what would the people around you think of you? Because all those people are potential business partners, are potential customers, are potential investors for you, but only if you show up with enthusiasm. You never know where it's going to come from. You never know where that next opportunity is going to come from. But if you're putting out positive vibes and enthusiasm all the time, you're going to attract a lot more to you than if you're putting out negativity, complaining, feeling like you deserve more and that life is unfair. This also becomes a self-identity thing. Because how you choose to show up when it's your time invested into something really matters. As in a small example, when we were shopping for a new car. So my wife had a car. I had a Vespa at the time. I didn't even need a car. And her lease was up on the car. And I started stressing out over what car should we get? What should be our next car? And I'm either all in, and it has to be great because I'm spending time on it, or I don't care at all. And I couldn't actually find the car that I liked. So he's like, whatever, I don't care. Just get any car, doesn't matter. And so I forget what car we had. We had like a Volkswagen or something. And that was the car. And then that lease came up and it's like, okay, we're back to this. Either I'm going to go all in and really research and be proud of what I'm doing. And this is an Evan Carmichael project. The fact that my name is on it, that my time is being spent on it, means something great has to come because I'm spending time on it. This is the mindset that I want you to adopt. Even if you I don't care about cars at all, right? I'm not a fancy car kind of guy. It's just not, I don't get up by looking at cars. I'm not a F1 fan. It's just not part of my daily. But if I'm going to spend time on it, it's going to be great. Even this, right? Like I'm updating my background here. I just got some new lights to put up here. We put the lights around here. I got a spotlight on me here. It's an experiment, but if I'm spending time on it, I want it to be great. I want the quality to be there because I'm spending time on it. So the car, second time around, then we decided, okay, you know what? I like this car. And we picked the Cayenne that became the Macan that became the Cayenne, and then we wrapped it. And the thought process was, okay, I'm going to wrap my car. What would a Porsche and Evan Carmichael collaboration look like? So if Porsche said, hey, Evan, we want to design a car with you. You take our body and you tell us what to put on top, right? You tell us how to make it look. What would that look like? It's a Porsche Evan Carmichael collaboration. That's the level at which I'm coming into it. Now, that didn't happen. Porsche isn't calling me to say, let's do a collab together, but that's how seriously I take it because I'm going to spend my time on it. I want it to be great. So this argument, this discussion, this thread breaks down into two things. One is just logical and practical that, hey, the more positive energy you're putting out, the more you're going to attract back, the more people will recognize it, the more people will say, I want that person's onto something. I want that person on my team. I want to be with them. I want to invest in them. I want to hire them. I want them to be around me because you're putting out so much positivity. It's going to come back versus negativity. But the other side is just a self-worth thing. That because you're spending time on it, even if you hate the thing, The fact that you are spending time on it means you're going to put in effort, because that's what you do. Because the things that you spend your time on move forward, period. And when you can embrace that, both sides of it, that's when life starts to change. That's when all of a sudden, right? You may not see it next week, but when you look back, if that's how you showed up every day for the next year, your life is going to be dramatically different 1 year from today, both in terms of how people see you and the opportunities that people present to you, but also how you feel about yourself. Because you showed up, because you chose to make your time mean something, not just to the world, but to yourself. Now, I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video? And what is your plan of action for the next week on it? So when you just get motivated, you get inspired, but you don't actually create a plan of action, there's only a 35% chance of following through. That's what the science says. But if you get inspired, you get motivated, and then you write down a specific plan of action for when and how you are going to do something about it, it's over 91% the chance that you will actually follow through and do it. And when you commit publicly to somebody else, it rises it even higher. So Believe Nation, it's not just about watching videos. I want you to take action and do something. So write down below your single biggest takeaway from this video and what you're going to do about it this week, because I want to celebrate you.
So what's up, man? It's good to see you. I see you all over the place. I see you hustling. Dude, your book, Built to Serve, you are built to serve. There's a difference when, I've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. I've been in the self-education industry for 24. Doesn't even seem possible. But there's a lot of people that when you kind of meet your heroes, or you meet the people behind the book, a habits book, a Built to Serve book, a time management. It's like you meet the guy with the time management book, and he's late getting on stage and stressed out of his mind in the green room. Like, there's no congruency is what I wanted to say. And before we chat today, I just want to honor you and give you congruency. What you wrote in this book is really who you are, man. You are built to serve. If you didn't check out Evan's Built to Serve, you should check it out. The truth is, I'm not all the way done. I freaking love it. My biggest problem is every book I read, Evan, I listen. I have such a hard time reading. I still have dyslexia. It still doesn't stick. So it's taken me longer, but when I actually read a book, it sticks. So highly recommend it. And it's just you. It's like it's having a 200-page conversation with you, which is always cool.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. Well, I also have an audiobook version. I read it myself, so there's always
dude, please send that to me.
Legendary takes time. And you can find yourself a gargantuan competitive advantage where you say, I'm going to think long term. I'm going to play the long game. I understand that genius and world class and legendary is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And when you do that, you start to raise your level of awareness, and you see your job as a craft, not just a job. And you start to say, I'm not going to put anything out into the world that is less than Steve Jobs' level. Steve Jobs really wasn't an entrepreneur. He really didn't care much about the money. Steve Jobs really was an artist. And you've probably heard me share this before, but there's the great story about when in the mid-1980s, Steve Jobs said, we're going to launch the first Apple Macintosh. And he said, I want this computer to be revolutionary. And when I interviewed Steve Wozniak, the co-founder and Steve Jobs' partner at a Titan Summit in Zurich a little while ago, I heard this firsthand, that Steve Wozniak wanted to create computers that were just industry, that would shake up the status quo. That was his obsession. He wanted to do things no other coder could do. And he told me Steve Jobs was an artist. And so in the mid-1980s, Steve Jobs got his design team around him. And here's what he told them. This is the deliverable, guys. I want this first Apple Macintosh to be so beautiful, it brings tears to people's eyes. But the real deliverable is, I want the inside to be art. And the design team said, well, Steve, no one's going to look inside the computer. No one's going to open it up. Why don't we just focus on a world-class user experience on the outside and beautiful architecture and design? And he said, no, this is what I want. And so when his design team went to work and the engineering team went to work. They literally said, we've got to deliver on Steve's obsession. And when Steve Jobs first saw that Apple Macintosh, when it was produced, he started to cry. Because he saw the beauty of execution around his vision. And then when he saw the inside, he was moved deeply. Because Steve Jobs wasn't an entrepreneur, he was much more an artist. And they looked at his design team and he said, now I want you to sign the circuit board. And they said, why? And he said, because all artists sign their work. I don't know what you do. I don't know where you live. One thing I know for sure, maybe the world has not told you you are an artist, but I encourage you, see your work and anything you produce as poetry. And your good name is on what you're releasing to the world. And rather than putting out a lot of poetry and a lot of work, why not put out less work, but work that is legendary?
If you want to see the one-on-one I did recently with Dean, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
The world needs it. Let's do it. If we don't shift our mindset, nothing changes. Let's break the internet again. You know what I mean?
Let's do it again.